What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today, just got done with my San Diego Chargers football preview. So right now I wanted to move into my Arizona Cardinals. So moving over back into the NFC West, I believe I've already done the Seattle Seahawks, and that's it. Yeah, that's all I've done so far out of the NFC West. So, talking about maybe the best team out of the NFC West this year. The Cardinals coming off one of their best, at least regular seasons ever. Talking about a team I think has quite a bit of potential to maybe get it a little bit better this year. So let's start with the first of my three key players. Let's start with the, I believe, 36-year-old quarterback now, Carson Palmer. So there's no doubt that Palmer has an array of weapons at wide receiver. This year, I'm pretty sure same ones as last year, but John Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd, in my opinion, combined to form what is one of the best trios of wide receivers in all of the NFL. Now, Larry Fitzgerald kind of had a revitalization of sorts last year. He had been going downhill for a couple years and then had a really, really big bounce back year last year. And then now let's move into our next key player. And I'm going to say it's David Johnson. I've talked actually quite a bit about David Johnson this offseason. I've never done an individual video about him. I'm thinking of doing that, but I've talked about him in almost every single video that I've done talking about the Arizona Cardinals and or fantasy football. So you're talking about a guy in fantasy football that's being drafted around the top 5 at the absolute least. Pretty much every draft, a lot of drafts in the top 3, and I don't know if he's worth that, but this is a guy that finished off 2015 as hot as any running back in the NFL. He's got a crazy amount of talent. They do have a pretty deep backfield this year between Andre Ellington, him, and Chris Johnson. And again, we'll see if David Johnson can really have that breakout sort of year, like a complete breakout year that a lot of people expect him to have this year. So my third key player, moving over to the defensive side of the ball, and their best defensive player, at least in my opinion, and Patrick Peterson. So, again, Cardinals crazy talented on defense. Their defensive line, in my opinion, just got even better. They picked up Robert Nkemdiche in the draft, which I do think it's a good area for him. Maybe the most talented player in the draft last year, if you're just talking about straight up talent. Obviously got himself in trouble a lot, but between the defensive line of Corey Peters, Frosty Rucker, Calais Campbell, and then I believe it is Marcus Golden, the kid out of Mizzou, this is a very, very good defensive line. Now, get back to what I was talking about in the first place with, and Chandler Jones. Can't forget him. That was a good pickup this offseason as well. But Patrick Peterson will most likely be starting opposite Tyvon Branch, and again, Patrick Peterson, one of the best corners in the NFL. I think if Arizona wants to meet the same sort of expectations, or at least, have the same sort of season they had last year, then Patrick Peterson's got to play the same or even better as he did before. Obviously, he's not just limited to the defensive side of the ball. He's one of the best returners in the NFL as well. So, let's get into my worst-case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals this year. My worst-case scenario is 8-8, where they miss the playoffs. It's not really a foreseeable scenario this year. It is kind of. That's why it's a worst-case scenario. But that's like assuming like Carson Palmer gets hurt. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't produce. The defense has a little bit of a down year. And, obviously either the LA Rams or the 49ers steps up in a big way. So, best-case scenario, I'd say 13-3 with a Super Bowl win. Again, you're talking about a team last year that was one of the best teams during the regular season. You can't just have a team that goes 14-4 overall. I believe they went, 13-3 during the regular season. So, I don't know if a 14-2 season this year is in the realms. I don't think they're quite to that level, especially with the Seahawks in the division. But again, this is a team that, while they got railed in the NFC Championship game, they still made it to the NFC Championship game. So if Carson Palmer can finally get over that, clutch bug that's been bugging him that playoff bug that's been bugging him for his entire career, then maybe they can finally get that Super Bowl that's eluded the Cardinals for a couple years now. Record prediction. I think they're going to go 11-5 this year. I think they're going to see a little bit of a dip in their regular season record, but I still think that they're going to make the playoffs, and at least it will maybe do good things in the playoffs. We'll see. Again, Carson Palmer kind of has that big playoff bug. Again, this is a team that's pretty talented on both sides of the ball. Has one of the better secondaries, just one of the overall better defenses in the NFL. Tyrann Mathieu, one of the best safeties in the NFL. I didn't mention him earlier, but like I said, pickup of Chandler Jones was a big pickup this year. I think they got a little bit better even during the offseason. It's just hard for me to see them replicating what they did last year, just record-wise. Like I said, I think the Seahawks are going to be improved this year, at least record-wise, compared to the regular season. It was a little bit of a down season for the Seahawks. Just injuries kind of got them down, up and down play at running back. Either way, that pretty much will do it for this preview. I'll be coming back later today with, I believe it's the Jets to finish out my preview. Yeah, the Jets to finish out my previews for the day. So go check out my website. Link to that will be in the description below. Go give me a follow on Twitter. Tweet SportsFire every single day. I'll put the link to that in the description below as well. Also, follow me on Instagram. But anyway, that's pretty much it. So, yeah.